More with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. The city of Clinton is addressing safety and staffing vulnerabilities within the fire department, driven by recent discussions concerning personnel coverage during higher risk hours. At the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting, the council approved a new letter of understanding developed to place a dedicated firefighter alongside the department's driver engineer. On the WHOW morning show Wednesday, Clinton City Administrator Tony Harris told the Heart Media Group that because part-time firefighters work outside the department, finding personnel for day shift emergency responses has become an ongoing challenge.
Yeah, let's talk about the letter of understanding for firefighters and driver engineer. I wanted to talk about it. I think I mentioned it just briefly the last time I was in, but this is some work that the council, in particular, the mayor and Commissioner Ballinger, trying to get some additional personnel for the fire department. A firefighter to accompany the engineer driver for the Clinton Fire Department. The thought behind that is we found out that we're having struggles with the part-time paid staff because they have to have jobs. There's just a part-time job for them, the part-time firefighters. The day shift calls, they struggle to get personnel to go on those calls. Sometimes it's just the engineer, which we feel is unsafe. If there's their engineers are supposed to stay with the truck. So we feel like that's a safety issue, and we're trying to address that. And we've been talking about that for a year, just trying to get it all lined out. But that's one step further with this letter of understanding, and hopefully here before long, we'll bring on another firefighter for just day shift hours that will be assigned to the station to be available for calls. So that ensure that we have at least two people on the truck to go on calls during day shift.
According to Harris, this agreement will hopefully resolve the safety liability by guaranteeing a minimum of 2 emergency personnel that are on the truck for all day shift calls.
It's being discussed. This was brought up at the last union negotiations by fire staff, and that is being discussed. They talked heavily on that, bringing more personnel in. Our thought was, let's try it with this one position, see how it goes. But to answer your question, I think it is. I mean, the volunteers, we've got great volunteers within the fire department, but they're only available when they're available. And during day shift, most of them work, which creates that problem of not having enough personnel during day shift. So that's one reason why we are looking at that. And then we're going to move on to see where else we can beef up the staff if needed.
The council approved the 2 letters of understanding on Tuesday night. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, U of I Extension closing out Ag Legal webinar series. Many schools this time of year take the empty hallways as an opportunity to keep their facilities top-notch. Blue Ridge School Superintendent Ryan Payton says the same is true for his district. Large projects at the high school and Snyder Elementary School highlight his belief that strong facilities are important to community support and the educational experience.
Yeah, we've got a lot going on this summer. It is a heavy kind of facilities-driven improvement area. So we've got a huge tuck pointing project that is taking place at Snyder Elementary and at kind of the junior high area in Mansfield, which just looks at, replacing some brick and some mortar, working some lintel work, and just really creating a better infrastructure there in both of those spaces. They're in good shape, but we just want to make sure that they are in top quality shape so that way they last for a very long time. And It's important to have good facilities so people have pride in the community. We've got that project. We've got some second floor insulation project here at the high school that we're working on to reduce some condensation that's happening. One of the huge ones that we have, obviously, is our Snyder Elementary playground that we have being installed. I think that's actually, equipment will start arriving early next week, and they'll begin kind of moving ground and paving the way to create an awesome new play structure for our pre-K through third grade students. We also have another classroom conversion project that we're working on at Snyder, and just, the summer is full of just standard routines: cleaning, waxing floors, deep cleaning, just maintenance things and repairs. So it is going to be a busy summer in regards to facilities.
Planning for the next school year is also a significant summer undertaking. Peyton indicates that next year the staff will be taking additional time to review student data. This will allow them to make adjustments and ensure they are meeting students where they are at.
I will say that too, we're just doing a lot of planning for next school year also, just as far as the academic side and systems within the buildings. One of the big things that we are doing is implementing professional learning communities. And so we will have some early dismissals next year, a few of those throughout the year, about 6. There are 1:30 dismissals where we'll just have some opportunities to really dive into student data, looking at instructional practices. How can we adjust those instructional practices just to really impact student achievement and student growth? So there's a lot of work that goes into that behind the scenes so that we have systems ready when we kick off next school year.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think you hit upon all 3 of them, right? I mean, to me, it's a strategic planning process. I mean, one of our big goals is student achievement and growth, right? And so, we had to look at a mechanism that really helped us continue to grow. And that's an important. Continuous improvement is a big piece, right? We want to continually grow. We have some of those systems in place, but we want to continue to build them. And so that's part of our strategic plan. But yes, exactly what you said, they are diagnostic and informative days, right? So, we can utilize the data that we look at and decide, hey, maybe we're seeing a gap in this area in a classroom. Those teachers could then, use some of that time to research specific strategies, and things that could, provide positive outcomes for those students and to fill those gaps, and then basically create a plan. And then in another month, assess and measure the success that they've had during that time. And then if it works, great, let's continue. If it's not, we need to do some more research and adjust and figure out what is our next step so that we can get those students where they need to be. So that's exactly kind of what our focus will be. And we're excited to jump on that new adventure.
Peyton feels that the ever-evolving needs of students require an ever-evolving curriculum. The first-year superintendent credits his predecessor, Dr. Hillary Stanifer, for the work that has allowed him to grow and excel alongside the district.
Yeah, so we do have a curriculum coordinator, Paige Trimble. She's done an amazing job for us. So, another part of our strategic plan is that we're continually monitoring, curriculum and kind of that cycle of review. And so we've been doing a lot of that recently. I think I talked about at the beginning of the year, we implemented a new ELA curriculum, CKLA or Amplify, English Language Arts. So we have implemented, that new curriculum. We're going to actually begin here pretty soon. We actually have kind of started some math curriculum reviews. So kind of looking at our current math curriculum, K through 12, kind of seeing where it sits as far as the criteria that make kind of strong evidence-based. And then what we're going to do next year is really look at options and see, is this something that we want to adjust and change for upcoming school years? And just kind of make sure that we're constantly evolving and making sure that what we're teaching is up to date and evidence-based. Dr. Sanford did an amazing job, and she set the foundation, right? And my goal when I stepped into this position is I always just wanted to make sure we continue to grow and excel. But, she paved the way and kind of set the foundation for early out days. I mean, we were noticing that we needed more time to have dialogue amongst professionals. And I just, kind of helped carry it on and put it into play. So, everything grows upon what was there prior to. So she did an amazing job in her leadership. And I can't say enough about the work that she did. And we were thankful to have her in the district for 5 years. And she was a great mentor for me as well, and many other staff members within our school district and outside of the school district.
Last summer, Blue Ridge updated its outdoor facilities, including the track and football field. Keep up with all the latest from the district at blueridge18.org. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
It's the quiet moments you count on. A call that connects instantly, a show that never buffers, a home that just works. That's the difference with Connexus Fiber Internet. We built a buried fiber network designed for consistency, earning us the title of top-rated fiber internet provider in Illinois. With plans starting as low as $25 a month and 3-year price lock options, it's reliability you can feel without the unpredictability. Because with Connexus, connection means everything. Experience better at Connexus.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
News time is 20 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. The legalities are not an aspect of farming that is often thought of, but it is a very important one for farmers to be aware of. Terry Casey, director of the University of Illinois Extension in Logan, Menard, and Sangamon counties, explains that they will be wrapping up their legal webinar series with a session called 5 Steps to Protecting Your Farm, Legally Speaking. The free webinar takes place from 6 to 7 p.m. on June 9th.
Well, yeah, on June 9th, there's going to be an online webinar. It's going to be closing out a series that we did on legal aspects or thoughts for small farms. This one's on 5 steps to protect your farm, legally speaking. Again, that's June 9th. It's from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's online. It is free. They just ask that you register in advance. And so the webinar session is hopefully going to help folks build knowledge and confidence around essential farm legal issues. And we know that a lot of times our producers, they're really focused on production. They're trying to manage that operation, manage planting when there's a lot of rain, manage harvest when there's a lot of rain, manage the markets. There's a lot that our producers have to manage. And sometimes that focus isn't on those legal issues, but those legal issues can be something that once they rear their ugly head can be very damaging to an operation. So this webinar is going to talk about just 5 steps that a farm can do to help protect themselves, build resiliency, be prepared, whether it's dealing with looking at liability issues, whether it's looking at insurance issues, looking at transferring to the next generation, those types of legal issues.
Casey indicates that most of the session will consist of hearing from experts in the field who can provide reliable information. That will be followed by 15 minutes intended for participants to ask questions on what can be a very complicated topic.
And so this is an opportunity for folks to learn. There's going to be 45 minutes of hearing for some experts, and then 15 minutes devoted to just taking questions from folks who need more information to help protect their farming operation. But also the good thing about these webinars is they have some interactivity to them. So folks can drop their questions in, they always say, drop the questions in the chat. They can drop those questions in the chat. They can, get information to reach out to the speakers, to get some follow-up on some of their issues. Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of these programs. It's not like YouTube where there's here's the information and there's no interaction between the experts and people. There's a great opportunity for people to get some real, make some connections and get some real useful information that they need.
Mm-hmm. Casey feels that the time spent participating in not only this webinar, but all of the offerings from the extension is well worth it. She says if the expertise is not already within their system, they partner with professionals who can provide it.
Oh, yes. And if Extension itself doesn't carry that expertise, we partner with folks that do. And in this case, it's the Farm Commons legal educators. I mean, these are folks who specialize in this. So we always try to bring in the most knowledgeable experts we can, the best research that we can to make sure that the information that we're giving is good information. It's as accurate as much as we can know. It's the latest information, and that it's, useful and timely to the people that we serve. Sure. It's June 9th from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and you can register online. Again, if you go to our website, extension.illinois.edu/LMS, you go to our events tab and you'll scroll down until you find it, click on it, and register.
If you cannot attend the webinar, as always, Casey recommends registering anyway to be sent all of the useful information and resources that were utilized at the session. Do so at extension.illinois.edu/LMS. Active weather will ramp back up for most of Illinois this month, beginning with this weekend, where much of the state will receive an inch of rain, says DTN agriculture meteorologist John Baranek.
When we were looking at it last week, I was kind of concerned about Illinois, honestly. It was, we were starting to get a little bit dry in some spots, and the forecast was maybe some showers moving through the first half of the month before it starts opening up. But, models really changed over the weekend. And so we will have a pretty decent front coming through here for Friday, Saturday, maybe even Sunday, getting some showers into the state. And it looks pretty solid, honestly. Pretty solid in terms of everybody getting a good amount there, and roughly an inch. Some areas probably get a little more, some get a little bit less, but some good potential there for getting some rain, for some needed rain across a lot of the state. So overall, in pretty good outlook here for at least this week. What happens next week is a little bit more questionable. Some models actually are keeping it very active here for that second week of June, while others keep it kind of on the drier side, just kind of moseying around the state, either off to the south or west. So we'll just have to see kind of what wins out for that second week. But then during the second half of the month there, the pattern does look like it's probably going to open up quite a bit, and we'll get multiple chances for showers and thunderstorms to move through. That helps to keep our temperatures in a more stable range as well. Nothing hot, nothing cold, and overall fairly decent weather. So as long as we don't get super dry next week, and the front this weekend does its job, I think we'll be in pretty good shape for most areas.
The drought monitor shows southern Illinois ranging from abnormally dry to severe drought, and northern Illinois abnormally dry. It's not considered your average rodeo with bull riding, but instead several linemen from Ameren, Illinois are returning to the International Linemen's Rodeo in Kansas. The event, which brings in 300 teams from across the globe, features traditional lineman tasks and skills. Kevin Young is the manager of electric training at Ameren.
We don't necessarily count on speed. However, it is time. And those that can go up the pole without dings or without committing errors, and those that have the ability to come in a what we call a mean time. There's an average time that we put to each of those tasks. And if they can come under those scores, or if they're the lowest, then they win that individual event, and that's what allows them to go on. So there's a safety climb, like an egg climb, to see who can ascend the pole and without breaking the egg on the way down. There's various tasks, and then we do things like cover up and changing arms, just things that a lineman would do to keep the lights on. They compete against others doing those same sorts of tasks in the lineman's rodeo.
The International Linemen's Rodeo, which started in 1984, runs from October 14th through 17th in Overland Park, Kansas. The Agriculture Secretary Wednesday told reporters that detection of New World screwworm in a Texas cow-calf has been confirmed. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. That's DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more. All free, all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The House, for the first time, has approved a War Powers resolution that would halt the U.S. military action against Iran. House Speaker Mike Johnson had tried to prevent an outcome that would show the mounting opposition to the war. The roll call Wednesday was 215 to 208, but the next steps are uncertain. President Trump will likely reject any measure from Congress to limit his authority. A massive black cloud rising above the St. Petersburg skyline from a Ukrainian drone strike for the opening of President Vladimir Putin's annual showcase of Russia's economic achievements, with Putin set to arrive for his hometown hosting the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. The Ukrainian attack a day earlier that set an oil terminal ablaze was another blow to his efforts to minimize the impact of the conflict. This is SRN News.
Ready for a bathroom upgrade that won't disrupt your life? Jacuzzi Bath Remodel is here to help. Take the stress out of renovations with quick, professional service from the name America trusts. Affordable, stunning selection of tubs and showers, each designed with style, safety, and your budget in mind. With customizable features like grab bars and seats, your new bath or shower will meet your entire family's needs.
I absolutely love my new bathroom. It's very hard to believe that they get it done in one day. Jacuzzi really outdid themselves.
Right now, we're waiving all installation costs, plus offering no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Call now to schedule your free design consultation and quote. Call 800-486-3395. That's 800-486-3395. 800-486-3395. With purchase and installation, financing through third-party lenders, subject to credit approval. No interest and no payments if paid in full within 12 months. Interest charged from purchase date if not paid in full. Not all will qualify. Call dealer for details.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Dane Eisenminger went the distance and drove in 2 runs in a 4-run first inning, propelling Tolono Unity past Maroa-Forsyth 4-1 in a Class 2A high school baseball sectional semifinal on Wednesday from the Monticello sectional. Eisenminger drove in 2 runs with a triple to put the Rockets up 3-0 in the top of the first. He would strike out 9 across 7 innings of 1-run ball. Braden Henry and Ryan Cunningham had RBIs for Tolono Unity. Gunnar Larner had the only RBI for the Trojans in the bottom half of the first inning. Camden Trendler was 2 for 3 with a double for Maroa-Forsyth, who finishes its campaign at 24-10-1. It will be an Illini Prairie Conference sectional championship on Saturday when Tolono Unity battles St. Joseph Ogden at 11 a.m. in Monticello. 3 Lexington pitchers combined to hold Mount Pulaski to just 1 run as the Minutemen defeated the Hilltoppers 3-1 in a high school baseball sectional semifinal matchup on Wednesday at Illinois Wesleyan. Jack Miller got the start and pitched 5 innings, allowing 5 hits, 1 run, and striking out 4. The Mount Pulaski bats were only further limited from there as Drake Powell and Blaine Freemanski combined for 2 innings of shutout relief. Mount Pulaski got on the board first after a leadoff single in the top of the 3rd from Carter Clark. After a sac bunt moved Clark to second, Chase Roberts singled in Clark to make it 1-0. Lexington answered back when Powell led off the bottom of the 4th with a triple, then scored on a wild pitch during the next at-bat to even the game at 1-1. They added another 2 runs in the 5th, highlighted by RBI singles from Powell and Braden Barber to take the 3-1 win. Powell led the Minutemen with a 2-for-3 day at the plate, scoring once and driving in a run. Freedmansky was also 2 for 3 and came home once. Barber was 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored as well. Preston Cohen led the Mount Pulaski Bats with a 2-for-3 performance. Clark was 1-for-3 with the lone run for the Hilltoppers. Aaron Voley, Luke Martin, and Tyler Cross also had hits. Clark started on the mound for Mount Pulaski, pitching 3 2/3 innings, allowing 1 run on 3 hits, striking out 5 and permitting 2 walks. Voley allowed 2 runs and 3 hits over 1 1/3 innings, while striking out 2. Jaden Jackson struck out 2 in a shutout inning of relief. Lexington improves to 23-11 and advances to the sectional championship against Tremont at Illinois Wesleyan on Saturday at 11 a.m. Mount Pulaski finishes the campaign at 22-12. In high school baseball sectional semifinal scores in Class 1A, 7-seed Cumberland upset top-seeded Arthur Levington Atwood Hammond 5-4, while 1-seed Tremont beat 7-seed Athens 7-1, and the 4th-seeded Gibson City Melvin Sibley beat 1-seeded Clifton Central 4-3. In Class 2A, top-seeded St. Joseph Ogden took down 2nd-seed Tri-Valley 6-3, while 3rd-seeded Williamsville beat Roxana 2-1, and top-seeded Pleasant Plains routed 6th-seed Alton Marquette 9-1. In Class 3A, 2nd-seed Champaign Central beat top-seeded Chatham Glenwood 3-1, while 1-seed Normal U High took down 2nd-seed Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin 4-2, and 2nd-seed East Peoria shut out top-seed Metamora 1-0. While in Class 4A, the 2nd-seed Minooka beat 1-seeded Normal Community 8-2. In high school softball state semifinal matchups for today, in Class 2A, Williamsville will take on Carterville at the Peoria Sluggers Stadium at 4:45, while in Class 3A, Chatham Glenwood will take on Fenwick also at the Peoria Sluggers Stadium at 12:15 p.m. In a game heard on WHOW, Eric Fetty pitched 5 scoreless innings for his first win in 10 months as the Chicago White Sox beat the Minnesota Twins 8-0 to stave off a series sweep on Wednesday.
The White Sox entered Wednesday's matinee in Minneapolis trying to salvage a game in the series finale at Target Field, and salvage they did. A 4-spot of support in the first for Eric Fetty, who set down the first 11 Twins that he faced. 5 scoreless Fetty innings later, and the good guys shut out Minnie in a laugher, capped off by Andrew Benintendi late.
Benintendi smokes one in the air to right. It is a 2-run homer out into the plaza.
Sam Antonacci reached base all 6 times he came to the dish in an 8-0 White Sox winner. First off day in 13 days as the White Sox head to Philadelphia Friday night. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage starting at 5 p.m. on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
The White Sox are back on WHOW tonight as they take on the Phillies. Pregame starts at 5 p.m. Alec Burleson drove in 3 runs. Andre Palante threw 5 2/3 innings of 1-run ball, and the St. Louis Cardinals defeated the Texas Rangers 5-3 on Wednesday night. Palante is 6-4 and allowed 3 hits and struck out 5. After reliever Jojo Romero gave up a 2-run triple to Jock Peterson in the 7th. Ryan Stanek followed with 1 2/3 scoreless innings, and Riley O'Brien worked the 9th for his 15th save. Burleson hit a 2-out RBI single in the first inning. Josh Jung answered for Texas with a run-scoring single in the 3rd. The Cardinals had 3 straight hits to begin their half of the 3rd, and Burleson drove in 2 with a double to right field that made it 3-1. Thomas Sajaci drove in a run in the 5th with his first career triple, and Nelson Velasquez brought 1 more home with a single in the 6th. Texas's Mackenzie Gore is 4-5 and worked 4 2/3 innings, allowing 9 hits and 4 runs while striking out 5. The Rangers host Cleveland on Friday with right-hander Kumar Rocker, who is 2-5 with a 3.54 ERA, facing Guardians lefty Parker Messick, who is 6-1 with a 2.21 ERA. The Cardinals continue their homestand against Cincinnati starting on Friday. Right-handed pitcher Kyle Leahy is 5-3 with a 4.25 ERA and will start opposite Reds right-hander Brady Singer, who is 2-5 with a 6.18 ERA. Nick Kurtz singled in automatic runner Alika Williams in the 10th inning, and the Athletics rallied for a second straight win, 5-4, over the sliding Chicago Cubs on Wednesday night. Kurtz extended his hitting streak to 5 games with his hit in the 10th off Ethan Roberts, who is 0-1, Chicago's 6th reliever. The Cubs are 32-30 and squandered a 2-run lead in the 8th inning and lost their 3rd straight and their 18th time in 23 games. Pinch hitter Colby Thomas hit a 426-foot solo homer over the left field bleachers in the 8th, and Tyler Soderstrom drove in his second run of the game with his second single as the Athletics tied it 4-all with both runs coming off reliever Caleb Thielbar. Chicago's Pete Crow Armstrong and Seiya Suzuki homered, and Ian Happ had 2 doubles, including the 1,000th hit of his career. Happ doubled to right in the 4th, batting right-handed against the A's lefty Jeffrey Springs. He doubled again in the 8th. Crow Armstrong extended his hitting streak to 8 games with a 2-run drive, his 8th in the 3rd. Michael Bush tripled in a run. Hogan Harris is 3-0. The Athletics' 5th reliever pitched a 1-2-3 ninth for the win. Justin Sterner retired all 3 Cubs hitters in the 10th for his first save. Soderstrom extended his hitting streak to a season-high 9 games and is 14 for 32, or batting .438 during the stretch. Williams had an RBI. Cubs starter Colin Rea allowed 2 runs on 4 hits in 5 1/3 innings. Springs allowed 4 runs on 7 hits in 3 2/3 innings, but avoided a 7th straight loss when the A's rallied. The Athletics jumped ahead 1-0 in the first, then led 2-0 in the second. Suzuki's drive to left in the bottom half cut it to 2-1. Athletics right-hander JT Jin, who is 3-3 with a 2.87 ERA, is scheduled to face Cubs lefty Shoto Imanaga, who is 4-6 with a 4.37 ERA in Thursday's season finale. In scores from around the MLB yesterday, the Miami Marlins beat the Washington Nationals 4-1, while the Detroit Tigers took down the Tampa Bay Rays 7-2. The New York Mets beat the Seattle Mariners 7-1, while the Philadelphia Phillies took down the San Diego Padres 3-2. The Boston Red Sox beat the Baltimore Orioles 8-1, while the Cleveland Guardians beat the New York Yankees 5-4. The Kansas City Royals took down the Cincinnati Reds 5-2, and the Atlanta Braves beat the Toronto Blue Jays 7-3. The San Francisco Giants shut out the Milwaukee Brewers 1-0, while the Houston Astros beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 11-9, and the LA Angels routed the Colorado Rockies 11-4, while the LA Dodgers shut out the Arizona Diamondbacks 7-0. Green Bay Packers edge rusher Micah Parsons returned from a torn anterior cruciate ligament, or ACL, figures to take place a little later than the All-Pro initially hoped. Parsons said the day after the Packers' wild card playoff loss to the Chicago Bears that he hoped to return for the season opener, while acknowledging that Week 3 or Week 4 seemed more realistic. Parsons offered a more conservative estimate while updating reporters on his recovery on Wednesday. The 9-month mark would be September 29th after the Packers' 3rd game. Considering Parsons may need more time to ramp up the game readiness, his actual return date could come a few weeks after that, though he isn't setting a specific date. Parsons earned All-Pro honors and had 12.5 sacks in his first season with the Packers before tearing his left ACL on December 14th